You're listening to Free Zone Radio.
In the South, we know that beauty and sorrow often share the same small-town street, and Steel Magnolias might just be the finest map to both. This is With Honors, Season 2. I grew up in the late 80s when VHS tapes lived on the TV stand, and Steel Magnolias lived in just about every Southern household, ours included. And I'm going to tell you, as a Tennessee kid, you couldn't watch it without feeling a little thrill every time Dolly Parton walked on screen. Or at least I couldn't. That woman's warmth, her wit, her hair, she's everything we loved about Tennessee and home. But the movie wasn't all charm and one-liners, because it kind of scared me too. I still remember that jolt the first time I watched Shelby's diabetic fit, the way Joy suddenly leaned toward danger. And then the funeral, well, that sadness just kind of settled in the bones and doesn't quite leave. It's a story that laughs at the top of its lungs and cries with its whole chest. And maybe, that's why it lasts. Years later, I saw the play performed locally at Tennessee Tech, and the experience felt like going home again in a way. Familiar voices, familiar women, familiar wounds, and there's something powerful about a story that reminds us how fiercely we love and how fiercely we lose. Today, I'm sitting down with Sarah Kate, who has her own history with this story, her own love for it, and her own thoughts about the kind of strength, softness, stubbornness these women carry.
Hi, my name is Sarah Kate. You might know me from being a Warriorette. I play basketball, obviously, and I'm just here talking about Steel Magnolias because it's a movie that I love, and I hold it close to my heart because of how many feelings it captures in you.
So we take a breath, hold on tight to the people who hold on tight to us, and ease open the door to a story that still knows how to break our hearts and stitch them back together. This is so cool. When you told me that you wanted to do an episode about Steel Magnolias, I can't tell you how excited I got. I know I was grinning at my desk. I'm a 46-year-old man, and I love this movie. I loved it as a kid, and I still love it when it comes on TV now. Why do you love it?
I think I love it just because I'm emotionally attached to it with like my grandmother, watching it with her for the first time and seeing like similarities between their life and my life and the people I love and the people they love. Like it hits close to home with me because they're just regular people. So when they have good things or bad things happen to them, I feel like you feel it so much more because they're not celebrities. Like it's just your everyday life.
That 100%. I know that Dolly Parton and Olympia Dukakis and Sally Field and Julia Roberts and all. I know Daryl Hannah, you can't forget her. I know they're celebrities. But man, oh man, you're 100% right. You watch this and you know these people. Mm-hmm. They go to church with you. They're here at school with you. You see them in town. You know all of it. But, it's hard for me to believe, but there are probably people in this country who have never watched this movie before in their life. So how would you explain what this movie's about to them?
Well, I would start with the setting. It's set in a small town in Louisiana, a very southern town, like everybody, a gossip in the hair salon sort of town. And you start off meeting a mother and daughter, Malin and Shelby, and it's Shelby's wedding day. And Malin is just kind of a ball of anxiety. As you look at her on the wedding day, I feel like that's just her consistency through the whole movie. And then they go over to Truvy's beauty salon, who is a great family friend of theirs, and they get their hair done. And Truvy meets a new employee she takes on that day, Nell, and they don't really know her backstory, but they know that something's up with her, so they eventually figure that out. And then you meet another character, Clary, who is just like, I feel like everybody has a Clary in their life. There's some fabulous old woman who you love, but sometimes you're like, but you always love them. And then there's a Weezer who people might love to hate her, but you never seem to hate her. Like her little smart remarks and her witty comments just make her who she is. And even if she says the rudest thing to you, you'll never be mad at her because she says it so smoothly.
Yeah, Weezer. I knew I forgot somebody. Shirley MacLaine, classic American actress. Shirley MacLaine kills it when playing Weezer. Real quick, favorite character?
Oh, that's really hard. I really like, honestly, I like Annelle just because of her character evolution. Like, that's going to sound so dumb, but I think she's so funny sometimes. Like, when she pours his beer out of the fridge, she's like, this is not going in my Frigidaire. And she pours it out.
That surprises me that you picked Annelle. And that is not a dumb answer. You came off with the smart answer, bud. I'm over here. You picked Annelle, and I thought, what? But yeah, her whole, is that bear in my Frigidaire? That line. I think I have a hard time not picking Dolly Parton just because I have adored Dolly Parton since I was, I don't know, a child. And I thought I saw Dolly Parton one time. Did I ever tell you this?
No.
Have you ever met Dolly?
No, I
Because you know, sometimes she appears at Dollywood.
like
open-
parades and
yeah.
stuff?
And I've never seen her. I've never been to a concert or anything. But my wife and I would go to Gatlinburg for our anniversary. And we were coming out through Dolly's gift shop there at Dollywood. And I happened to just look up, and I saw her on that interior banister going around the top, and she had her hand up, and my heart went cold, and I was an inch away from pointing and screaming, "Oh my Lord, it's Dolly Parton." But it was one of those celebrity cutouts. And I was going to look like the biggest, baddest idiot in the world yelling, "It's Dolly." No, it's not. It's a cutout.
Cardboard.
But I also love Weezer, and I also love all of them. Least favorite character. It could be any of them. It could be any of the dudes, any of them.
I don't know. Oh, this is really hard. I'm going to let you go first on that one.
Shelby's brother. Or, I mean, both of them, right?
The one who decorated the cars?
Oh,
Yeah, they're kind of a pain.
They're my least favorite. And I know that later on they suffer too, and that's supposed to be whatever. But yeah, I could lose them, and I don't care one bit. If I had to pick one of the women, though, you might be mad at me. I think Malin might be one of my least favorites. I know your jaw dropped when I said that, but I don't know. She might be one of my least favorites. She has a lot of room to grow, and I think Malin's probably the main character. But I think she's just, she's one of those naggy moms. She's a complainer mom.
Helicopter mom, for
She is
sure.
a helicopter mom. Who would you pick?
My least favorite. I'm starting to think, I don't know. Oh, this is actually really hard. I feel like I'm just yapping.
You're
Probably the brothers, honestly. I
Yeah.
feel like those are the least important. There's not a character that I just downright do not like. Like a character that's featured multiple times.
Not even Annelle's husband.
I actually liked him. I thought he was hilarious. He kind of gave me the ick during the wedding when he was like, best cherry coke in town. I was like, shut up. Like, it's just a cherry coke.
What a cringy hit-up line.
And he looked like a vampire.
Yes.
It was icky.
But he also is trying his best. I don't know. I come to like him too. I'm surprised by how many A-list names were in this movie. It was a play done by Robert Harlan. And, I mean, you get Dolly Parton, Sally Field, Olympia Dukakis. You get all these big names. But even among the men, too, you get Tom Skerritt, who plays Drum Eatonton.
Which I love him. I love Drum. Drum, he makes my heart warm. He just, because, he makes it a point not to bother his wife, and all that stuff with the birds. I respect him so much in just everything. How he tried to help his wife during Shelby's passing, when she was in the hospital. I respect him so much for.
He also has some of the best one-liners. He has some of the best one-liners.
Yes. Whitey Black is a moron.
I think a lot of people would look at Drum Eatonton and say, that's a great dad. You kind of want him to be your dad, or you want to be a dad like him. But there's also a guest appearance. There's like a slight cameo in there when you get to see Truvy's husband. Do you know who he is?
No.
Right? A lot of people don't know, but that guy's name is Sam Shepard. He's a famous American playwright. And I don't know if he knew Robert Harlan or where that came in there, but he's like a famous playwright. And here he's just got this one guest bit as Truvy's husband. I thought, that's so cool that they bring in somebody like that. So this was your idea. What would you like to lead off with talking about?
Okay, well, I think we can actually just start with how we see Southern culture around us today.
Please
because
do.
We live in the Sparta of Tennessee,
Right.
and I think we are still a very Southern town. Do we have our hipster influences? Yes, like take a visit to the square and you're not really going to see Southern culture. But you get outside and you're like, why are all these fields here? And you're like, oh, Southern culture.
Oh, yeah. I think I have a theory as to why we have that.
Okay.
Do you have an idea?
No, I think there's a lot of people that have came from far away.
That's exactly right. We have a lot of great businesses here in town, Coffee Collective, Mariucci's, a lot of them. And a lot of those are done by some of these Californians who have moved into Middle Tennessee, which there's the influx. We have a lot of cheap land, no income tax, and people who are trying to escape, high costs in California come out here, they settle. But they also bring a lot of those businesses in that are, unconventional. And as much as Jason complains about that, we do need influx like that because it does give us a kickstart. I mean, I love me some Coffee Collective too.
Me too. I love Coffee Collective. Mariucci's. It's better, because my grandma would always want to go to Miss Miranda's if we wanted to go sit somewhere for lunch. And
what do you think about Miss Miranda's?
I haven't been in a long time because I try to avoid it.
Yeah.
But, I think the food is good, but it's just not my style of food. I'm not knocking them at all.
Yeah.
And I think it's a cool experience. It's very Southern to go upstairs in an antique shop while you're eating your lunch with your grandma. But it's just not my style of food. But I think it's still good.
Miss Miranda's 100% is Steel Magnolias, but it's the Malin, the Weeza, it's them. Whereas you are Shelby and you want to go over here to a different restaurant. But yeah, so your characters in the book are from Chinkapin Parish in Louisiana. And I get it. Louisiana is deep south. But there's all different flavors of the South. There is no one flavor.
That's why we have different accents and stuff.
Yeah, we do.
There's never I feel like the people there do not sound like us.
Oh, no.
The only one I can say is Nell Davis, which I have a whole point in here. She sounds just like Claire Reed. They are so identical. It's insane.
Yeah. But Sparta, the Sparta of Tennessee, this was during the Civil War, Confederate territory. And so absolutely, this is South. This is part of the South. So there's all different flavors of the South and, their accent's different from ours and all that, but we're definitely South too. So you think, what does it really mean? Well, how would you explain it? What does it mean to be Southern?
What does it mean to be, that's a hard question. Okay.
Right.
So I think it's past all the baked goods and the accents at some point, and it's just I think it comes down to Southern hospitality in a way, and the way we treat each other is very Southern. The way that people can be just as nasty as they can be kind to one person in the span of 24 hours. I think that's very Southern. I think it's how paced our lives are, how a lot of people's lives revolve around church, growing up I think most towns still are very Bible Belt, that would be called rural towns. They're very Bible Belt, just how we treat each other, how we pace our lives, and, the Bible Belt is what I would say. Southern.
Yeah, there definitely is that shared heritage because you're thinking, okay, well, what makes us Southern and what makes, the Californians who move in, why are they not exactly Southern yet? Or if we went to Ohio or New York, why is that not Southern? And there is a shared language, a shared history, a shared culture, and a shared set of values. I mean, I know we're all individuals and we all think different and pray different and vote different and whatever, but we do have a commonality to us. You bring up Southern hospitality. I went on a flight to California once, and as we were coming back, we were deplaning, and everybody stands up. Boy, that always chaps me, how we just stopped and everybody stands up. It's like, folks, you are not deplaning for another 10 minutes. Why are you all standing up like you're going to be the first one out? And there was this little old Californian lady in front of us who was so pushy and shovey. And then there was this guy in front of me who was like, honey, I think we're in the South. You ever hear of hospitality?
Like you don't beep a horn in the South, that sort of stuff.
And I thought, wow, good on you, bro, for putting people in their place.
It's actually so funny.
Do you think a play like this resonates with people outside the South? Do you think they care?
I think they care, but maybe it doesn't hit home as much. Like it's still going to hit your emotions because obviously the loss is in it. That's still obviously going to hurt like any movie. But it's like, we weren't on the Titanic, but every time you watch the Titanic, you're going to cry. But I think like if you were on the Titanic, it would hit closer just because you could have experienced that. So I feel like it still hits them, but it might hit us closer just because that's like our people.
Yeah, right. When you think of the people in this, what people of yours are you reminded of? Your grandma?
Yes, my grandma and my grandma's friends and my mom's friends. Because honestly, like sometimes I would rather hang out with them than like anyone else. Just like, because I don't know, they're just so like, I can't even describe it, but I just love them so much. Like I could just hug all of them so much. And like the Nell Davis, I don't know if you know who that is, and she's like one of my grandma's best friends. She sounds just like Clary, like
really
identical. And I've always asked my grandma, I'm like, is she from Sparta? Because I've never met someone who sounds like that. She like sounds like this. And now do you know her? I'm like, honey, like she's not from here. And she's like, yes. And she wears the pink lipstick and she wears fabulous leopard print like everywhere. Like I'm just like, I love her so much. And that just, it's so similar because like when I watched that movie, that was my first thing. Like when I saw her first time, I was like, okay, I can instantly characterize her, not because I know her, but because I know her in person.
Oh yeah. I was really close to my dad's dad, my grandpa Crockett. And I mean, even though he's like my icon of what I want to be like as a grandpa or a dad or something like that, I was just telling Coach Haston, I was raised by a lot of the women in my family too. And I mean, Southern women. And they remind me a lot of the characters in Steel Magnolias. But you also have, my mom is a beautician. And in a way, that reminds me of Truvy's Beauty Shop. And I think one of the big challenges for me in an honors and an AP class especially, I'm supposed to get you all to see how setting matters to character. This play, a lot of it is set in one particular setting, the beauty shop. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it is the arena for who they are as people. It is the setting for their conversations, what brings them together. Why do you think the beauty shop is so iconic here?
Well, first off, it's just like when you think of that, you're going to think of the movie. So it's like symbolizing the movie. I feel like in a way, you know how like wedding rings symbolize marriage. And then I think it's iconic just because we see so many different moments like in there. And like you see the progression of Shelby's illness, you know, her first diabetic attack. And then they're like, why are you driving nails up your arm? And it's her dialysis, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's just such like the same setting, but they're going through different paces of life almost every time. Like, every time you go to the beauty shop, I feel like something is happening. Like, it's a symbolizing of, like, something changing.
That's what I was going to ask, because 46-year-old man, I know nothing about beauty shops. I know my mom has a beauty shop. I sometimes have to go through there and drop stuff off or whatever, but I don't really know like the culture of, do you go to beauty shops?
Yes, and I feel like I relate to them so much because my hairdresser, I was like helped raised by a woman I call Ma Gert because my mom would go to work and my grandma was busy, I'd go to Ma Gert's. And Ma Gert's daughter does my hair. So it's a family friend and like we're close with all their family, you know, out in Quebec. And it's just like, I don't know, like it's so like, I don't know, like I spend like 3 hours there getting my hair done.
Really?
But it, like I could sit there and talk the whole time, you know, and just, I don't know.
That's exactly it. It's a kind of community.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It's a community for these women who aren't all blood related, but in a way, they're thicker than family. They're like sisters in a way. When they come away from the funeral or golly, even before the funeral. I know this is kind of jumping ahead, but like just before the funeral or during the funeral, when Malin is really upset, And it's like it kind of comes to a head. You got to let all that grief and anguish out. And what does she do? She brings Weeza over and says, hit her.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, as awful as that is, we had to have something to laugh about, and we had to have some sort of like valve to let that steam out too. Those women are family for each other. They don't get that kind of tension release elsewhere, and they need that from each other. Who would be your group of belonging?
My group of belonging. So if I was Shelby and I was trying to buy older women,
could be whatever. I don't know what you would pick.
I'll put myself in Shelby's shoes. So I would say my mom, Janie Davis, my grandma, Nell, probably just because I characterize her as Millen. And then probably my BB, I'd probably say, because I don't know, they all just they just display like different ways to love and help solve like issues. Like if I came to them, they all would give me different but valuable solutions to problems in my life, you know?
Even probably like some that you just pick up through osmosis by watching their interactions with each other. I think that's another valuable thing is if Shelby's in the room, they are thriving off of her youth.
Yes, like they want to live through her stories and they want to hear it. Yeah.
Because they're older women or they're, mother's age and all of that. And it's been a while since we've been young and in love. And you love living vicariously through that youth. But hearing them talk about things too, Shelby picks up on stuff that she's not involved in. Yeah. Like when she moves away and comes back and is like, I don't live here no more. You got to tell me about how things are. We need that kind of community in our life. What's another thing you want to talk about?
We can talk about how trauma like this with the passing of Millen's daughter, Shelby, can bond women emotionally, because that is such a big heartbreak in the movie. And even though the life seems so broken at that point for Millen, she still bonds with these women while her husband kind of falls away. I'm sure him and Jackson had conversations, but it was nowhere near as in depth as I feel like Millen and all those other women were, because Millen lost her only daughter, and her grandson obviously was a grandson. Like she probably felt like she had no women in her life at that point, Yeah. And I think that friendship, is so valuable. And we see when she says like men are supposed to be made of steel or something. It's like, he's supposed to be the strong one, and he always is. But right now he's by himself and we're stronger together. Yeah. And then when Truvy's like, nobody cries alone in my presence. Like they're just such like a united force. And it's so sad, but it's like healing to see in a way,
I couldn't help but hear Dolly Parton say that when you when you said that line out loud. That part of the movie scared me as a kid, because they are just kind of sitting and talking about stuff, and you can see Shelby goes quiet and is kind of like zoning out. And probably on your first watch through, a person may or may not notice that, but then it starts zooming in and she's tensing up and she's starting to go into her fit, and everybody panics. And I remember finding that very hard to watch. And then later on, when she finally insists, I want to have a baby, even though the doctors say it's too damaging to my system, I still want, you have this creative urge. I want to be a mom. And she makes that happen, but it does cost her life. And watching her collapse on Halloween and nobody's there to save her, that was hard to watch too. And then in the hospital afterward, everybody's all quiet, and that's a really good point to bring up, is that they have their community, but then it's like, who does Drum reach out to? Or who do the brothers really reach out to? It is important for us to be there. I don't know. It's a really beautiful but hard to watch part of the movie.
It's so hard to watch, yes. Yeah. Because it's like, that's happening right now in a bunch of homes in America. Yeah. And it will actually really anywhere. Like it's so sad because it feels so real. Like you feel like you've watched this girl get married and you've watched her have a baby, and that's her dream, and you've watched her marry the love of her life, and you've watched them grow up, and you've watched Millen finally get used to her daughter not being around, and you're like, okay, she's had the baby, she's had the transplant, she's in the clear. And it's just like that, and she's no longer, and it's like really devastating, I feel like, just because.
Have you ever known like a student that you've gone to school with for a long time who unfortunately passed away too soon? Has that ever happened in your class?
Not that I can think. Actually, there was a kid I think a year older than me that
Okay.
But
In my graduating class, it happened a couple of times. And I can remember there was an ag class that I was in, and it was a guy who sat next to me, and his name was Andy. And he was so funny, and he was just a good, down-to-earth guy. And he was in a four-wheeler accident one weekend, and he died. And that Monday morning, we all go back into ag, and guidance counselors met us at the door, and his chair stayed empty, and it was a rough day. Everybody was crying, everybody was down, everybody was sad. And then even after his funeral for a while, his chair stayed empty in class. I remember one day, a guy, he didn't mean anything by it, but we were all just kind of talking in class, and this guy came around and sat in his chair talking to another buddy, and the guys around me kind of went silent, and another one of them looked at him and said, "Hey, you don't sit there." And he was just, I don't mean anything by it, and he's like, "I know, but you don't sit there." And even then, it was like, we're not ready to give Andy up. These women, whether you're related to Shelby, heck, even audiences, like, you know these people at church, you know these people at school, and if we lost somebody that we've been with this whole time, that impact is going to sting. It's going to stay with us for a long while, too. And we got to rely, as best we can on each other. And people don't want to have to share their grief, but, that's what we are here for. We are a community. Would you say we're stronger together?
yeah.
That's a really heavy part of this play to put it. What else you want to talk about?
We can talk about some of our favorite scenes in the
yeah.
movie because that's like a higher note to
So
talk about.
that's so true. So to kind of dig us out, I guess, before we get too dark.
Yeah, before we start crying.
What would you say is one of your favorite parts of it?
My favorite part is definitely her wedding. Like, oh my, that's what I want my wedding to be like. Like the party and the service of the church. I might not think it's pretty now, but I'm sure that was beautiful for its time
yeah.
with like all the pink and like it's so extra and like fluffy. Like that's not really the standard now, but
Right.
I'm sure then that was
Back
like
in the
everything.
80s.
I've seen my mom's
Yes.
dress. Yeah. Like,
Yes. Back in the 80s, that was bigger is better. That's right. What were Shelby's wedding colors?
blush and bashful.
Thank you, because it was like pank and pank.
Yeah. One is slightly darker than the other.
Slightly, that's right. When you think about the wedding, why do you want your wedding to be so much like Shelby's? You don't want the big poofy outfits or hair, but what do you want about it?
I think it was just so like homey. Like it was at her house, but also it just had all the people she loved and they were all celebrating and there was no like animosity look.
Right.
Like out of it. Like everybody was on the dance floor having a good time, you know. Weezer and Drum were having their sort of one-liners back and back with the groom's cake. We don't have to say the one-liner.
What an awful groom's cake, though, and his aunt making it.
She's like, you did this? Like
A dead armadillo. And when you cut into it, it's red velvet, like blood. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, I agree with you. Like that was on my wedding day, that was one of my favorite parts is getting to have all of these people from all of our families together. We got married in Sevierville. So for some of our family, it wasn't that big of a drive. But you also got like my Ohio family or her West Virginia family. And everybody came to Sevierville. We got a big cabin, or everybody got cabins. And it was such a good time to have everybody together. I think I kind of want heaven to be like that too, that not my first day when I get to heaven, I want to see everybody at Grandpa's house. Yes. And you're just going to have a big time. I was trying to think, another one of my favorite parts is in preparation for the wedding, when Drum's going around firing off the guns. He's doing his best to just clear out all of these birds. He doesn't want his daughter's wedding day to be ruined. But boy, it's sure driving everybody nuts, including Weeza's dog.
That poor dog, missing hair.
It's on his last legs, I know. What about like some of the character development? Did you want to talk about any character development or changes?
Yeah, we can. I think we see two cases of that, like extremely in Annelle and then in Truvy's husband.
Oh yeah.
Like maybe not. Maybe his was there all along, but he just showed it better.
Yeah.
And like the whole movie, I feel like we kind of see him as a deadbeat. Like her son's kind of like this bikery guy, and he's got a girlfriend, and the nicest thing she can say is that all his tattoos are spelled correctly. Right. And like she's kind of like, y'all are my family because mine's kind of failing me right now.
Right.
And then by the end, he's like, I don't know what I would do if I was Jackson.
Right.
And it's so like you just take a breath because they're together, and like he builds her the shop at the end, the new beauty
store. She's a chain. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. What about Annelle? You think her character development is super important too?
Yeah, because I think she went up and down.
Yeah,
with like,
right?
Do you like her? Like, why is she doing that? And then you're like, okay, I like her again.
Yeah. When she first shows up, she is such a train wreck of a person. Mm-hmm. She's obviously haunted by her past. She's got a lot of baggage. And boy, don't we want to know about that. We all want to hear about the tea about that. Well, where's she from? What's she involved in? Classic, who are your people? Yeah.
Who's your mama and daddy?
That is a question we ask around here is, who's your people? Because that tells us about who you are as a person. And it's so intricate and complicated, all the webs between our people and your people around here. And then you do get to see her open up. She gets contacts, she gets a man, she gets to living a little bit wild, and then Truvy's got her going to church, and then she kind of gets real serious again. It's an up and down, back and forth. Does anybody else you think change in this story? I feel like Malin goes through a little bit.
Yeah, explain.
Well, my gut tells me that Malin is like the main protagonist. Shelby's her daughter. These women are her friends. It's back and forth between her and Drum and Shelby and the loss, the wedding. Like so many of the things are rooted in Malin's experience. But I don't know that Malin really needs to change or does a lot of change, except maybe by the end where it's like you called her a helicopter parent before, and that's true. She absolutely is. And she kind of has to let go a little bit of that. She especially has to let go of Shelby.
Yeah.
But then she's very much, you see by the end of the movie, she's still very much about that grandson. Like that's her extension of Shelby that's left on Earth. And she and her husband, I don't think ever have a risk of their relationship. She and her sons never have a risk in their relationship. It's just her and Shelby trying to figure out how can I ease up on my daughter and let her live her life while also, trying to protect my child. I just don't think there's a big change that she has to go through.
I think everyone's going to be changed by that whole situation a little bit. But there's not like another major character development. And I think the whole thing, like you were saying with Malin, it's just a whole nother like heartache. Mm-hmm. Because you see her like, her whole life, I feel like has been for Shelby in a way. Like, her boys, she loves her boys, but maybe it's blatant favoritism to Shelby. And then that's just, where does that go? Like she says at the end, she's like, life goes on, but still how much life can go on when Shelby was her life.
Yeah. And now it's the grandson, but that's your grandson.
But Jackson lives far away, so you're like,
I do think that that's a pitfall trap, and I'm not judging anybody's families. I was very much raised by my grandpa, and my grandparents were in my life, but I do think that's a trap that if you're trying to raise your kid's kid for them, you're robbing your kid of that experience, that growth of being a parent. And also, like, dude, you've already had your shot. You kind of need to just appreciate, this sounds so cliched, you need to appreciate that season you are in. I don't know, Malin's a little bit of a control freak, and I know I'm a little bit of a control freak, but you got to let your kids live their own lives too. You want to be protective and loving of them. But Jackson's going to be taking that grandson of hers, and they're going to be living far away. You can be involved, but you just can't raise the baby to be, boy Shelby. That's not going to happen.
I think that was another one of Malin's problems. So she never, in like fully just dove into the season of life she was in. Like, Shelby's telling you she's pregnant and she wants to have this baby. She's going to have it if she wants to have it or not. So the best thing she could have done was, maybe she was going to say her piece anyways, but then she should have just moved on.
Oh, yeah.
Because now you're making Shelby feel bad, and in a way, you're probably robbing her of that whole pregnancy experience. Because, like, if your mom's not happy for you, like, that's the first person I would tell, 100%, like, immediately. And if your mom's not happy for you, you're like, I don't know, like, sad.
Malin sacrifices so much for Shelby, especially with her kidney, right? And then just wanting to do everything to keep Shelby kind of like that rose in Beauty and the Beast. She wants to keep her that rose under a glass. But, I mean, that's the joy and the sadness, too. If you got to let these kids live their lives, too, and love on them and protect them while you can. But they have to live their lives, too. Anything else you want to say?
I want to ask you a question, though.
Oh, okay. Do it.
So what do you think the movie is really about? Besides all the big hair and, you know, the sadness and the deaths, what do you think it's really about?
Well, that's a really good question. We should always talk, like, bigger picture, like, beyond the page, what's it about? I think Steel Magnolias is something that even grown men like me can appreciate. It's not just a movie for women or a play for women. I think it's a story about community and where you find your community and what gives you that kind of strength and growth. For some of us, like me, I have, you know, a group chat that's some of my guys that I hang out with. And then you also have my community here in First Block. Like, you guys are a kind of community for me as well. If something bad happened to my family, I know that my work community here would be for me too. We all need community. We were not meant to be in isolation. And if you feel like you struggle for that kind of thing, like Anel does, you got to be involved. And I'm not saying you got to be super extroverted, no, but find your opportunities to participate. She goes out and gets her a job. And then it's like, you know, listen to these good influences in your life. When Dolly Parton says, come on, you need to go hang out with me, like, go with her and take those opportunities. Be a good friend to earn good friends. And just appreciate the family that you have while they're here with you, because we're not promised a long time on this earth. And we will always wish we had more time with them when they're gone. So just really appreciate the time you have with them right now. I know that Miss Benson and I, and my wife and I, like several people in my life, were talking recently about how we get so busy. Just living our lives. You get so busy in work. You get so busy in basketball. You get so busy in the assignments that I'm having to write for my kids. But, you know, that can't take away from the time you spend with your family. And that can't take away from the time of just, you know, just be with them. Just appreciate the time you have with people while you have them, because it's going to be gone faster than you think.
Yeah.
Do you have a different take on it?
I really agree with you on what you said, but I didn't think about that, and I'm killing myself for not thinking about that, because that is actually a really good point.
Well, good writers borrow, but great writers steal. Mm-hmm. So you can totally steal that idea.
I'm stealing it, and I'm going to throw in my own idea.
I love it.
I also think this might be like, you might just see it out of your eye and it's really obvious, but I think it's a lot about the progression of life. Like, how we see all these different emotions, you know, people becoming extremely religious and friendships forming and friendships breaking and people getting married and babies being born. Mm-hmm. You know, all this is happening simultaneously and you can't slow it down. Yeah. It's going to happen if you want it or not. And it's going to bring on all these emotions if you want it or not.
Yeah.
You know?
People and our relationships, our experiences, we're so organic, and we live and we grow and we change. Change is just such a universal constant. And when we talk about that in the first 6 weeks of this class, we call them dynamic characters because they are changing. And Sarah Kate's a dynamic person. You are just in the process of changing. Think about your style as a freshman. Think about your style as a sixth grader.
Yeah.
Think about
rough.
I know I will not show you all my high school pictures, but if you saw Jason Crockett's pictures in high school, what was he doing? But we're all just in a process of becoming. You try different hairstyles, you try different friend groups, you try different experiences, and you eventually settle on, you know, a kind of amalgamation of who you're going to be. I think that's a really great take, is that this play is about that changing life experience too. Friendships, identity, all of it. That's really smart. Well, look at you taking such a good movie and making it such a literary lesson here for us too. If they were going to redo this movie in 2025, I feel like Hollywood's gotten into a habit of remaking these things that they should not remake.
Yes, I'm like, don't touch it. It's perfect.
It's
like,
so
leave
good.
it. Please don't do that.
But if they had to remake it, who would you want cast in it? Who would you want to see in it?
I'm actually really bad with actors. This is embarrassing.
I don't know that I know anybody.
I don't know. Honestly, like, because I'm trying to think of people who like embody a Southern culture, and I feel like we don't see a lot of that in Hollywood. It's washed.
I'm struggling to think, well, who would I pick to play Dolly Parton other than Dolly Parton?
Nobody can do Dolly Parton.
I just don't know that I could.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't want them to remake it anyway. I mean, I know, of course, the wedding and stuff like that, the fashion's out of date, but man, that's the snapshot of the time. That's what it was like back then.
I think that's why we love it so much, because we can't go back to that.
What did Dolly say? She was like, oh, come on, it's the 90s. You're doing this. And it's like, girl.
You can be whoever you want to be. Or it's like, you don't have to be old to have a past or something.
And while that may be a timeless, universal truth, you don't have to be old to have a past. But the whole, it's the 90s. Girl, that was 30 years ago. That's way back when. Well, this is really cool. Anything else you want to say or do?
Just one last thing to wrap it up. Why should it still be watched? Like, why should we not just throw it in the bin of old movies that we watched once and it's not really important?
Well, you tell me. Why do you think it should still be watched?
I think it should still be watched because it sets a good example of what Southern life is. I feel like we get a bad rap a lot. We're dumb.
Oh, there's such a stereotype.
Stupid, like we're racist. Like we get such like a bad stereotype of what we are. And I think it shows a good picture of what Southern living is for a lot of people. You're going to run into people that are rude and that are racist and are prejudiced and all this stuff. But I think majority of people are just living their lives at a slower pace. And you can disagree with that. You can disagree with how they live, but it's not wrong. I mean, it's your opinion.
Yeah.
And I think also it's just because it's so multi-generational. Like I've watched it with my grandma and my mom and all these people. And I think it bonds generations in like a time where we don't have to interact with the older generation. Like what can they tell me that I can't look up my phone?
Oh,
like,
right.
It just takes a second and it's like, okay, sit with me and watch this.
I would 1,000,000,000% agree with that being a Southern trait too, is that we appreciate our roots. We appreciate like these generations and where we come from, the whole idea of who's your people. We are very mindful about our roots and these generational stories of where we come from. We all have good and bad in us because that's the complex human creature. But I do feel like this is a good celebration of what Southern people can be like in a good way. Because it's about community and family. I love it, dude. I love this whole thing. If you got to meet Dolly Parton this afternoon, what would you say?
Oh my gosh, so much. I don't think I can pick one question. I don't even know.
A celebrity's coming to school today, and it's either going to be Dolly Parton or Julia Roberts that you get to meet.
I'd probably pick Dolly Parton just because
really?
I don't know. I love Dollywood too. So like she's such just like a magical, like sometimes I forget she's real. Like Dolly Parton is almost an idea as much as she is a person just because of how like iconic everything she does is.
Yeah. And a few weeks ago, she said that she was having to take off some of her tour dates, and her sister, in her goodness, just meant to say, hey, everybody be praying for Dolly. But when it came out, be praying for Dolly, everybody on the internet panicked and like,
she's
not
sick,
Dolly,
yeah.
not Dolly. Man, I that will be a dark day for me when we lose Dolly Parton. Mm-hmm. She is wonderful. Well, I love that we get to talk about this, and we should come back and talk about more of this Southern stuff sometime soon.
Yes, I agree.
With Honors is a Free Zone radio production, produced here in Sparta, Tennessee. You can find more of our shows here on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to great content. Check out our new show, Second Stage, premiering this season, as well as our brother podcast, A Dead Man's Books and Haston Curation.
Hey everyone, my name is Drew, and I want to talk to you about my show, A Dead Man's Books. The show was created with the mindset of whenever I pass away, as morbidly as that sounds, that my children would inherit my books. And of all the things that I'm going to pass down to them, I think that that's the one thing that I want them to make sure that they keep and go through on their own time. But I want to be there next to them whenever they read these things. And so I created a podcast so that they could go back and listen to me and my friends and other people as we read through these books and what we had to think about it. But it's grown to so much more. We've got authors we interview. We talk about everyday life. We talk about how literature connects to life. All of those things in one place. And now we want you to come along with us and join us. This is a podcast not just for my kids, but for everyone who loves to read, everyone who loves a good story, everyone who's a parent, everyone who's a teacher, everyone who just enjoys literature. This is a place to come. So come join us every Monday on A Dead Man's Books.